Hey guys, welcome to Wildwood Studio. I'm Sarah, and in this video, I'm going to be doing a wood burning of a kingfisher. I also want to play around a little bit more with adding color to my pyrography, so this little guy will be the most complex burning that I've ever added color to. I went relatively small with this one because I'm still sort of messing around and figuring out what I like in terms of adding color to my burnings, but I'll talk more about the coloring process when I get to that part. The original reference photo for this one is another picture by my friend Peter Martin. I'll make sure to link to his Instagram in the description if you want to see some more of his work. When I was choosing a subject for this burning, I asked Peter if he had any pictures of colorful little birds that I could use, and he didn't send me just one, he sent me an entire folder of great bird pictures that he's taken. So I'll probably end up using more than one of them, but I thought I'd start with this one because it just sort of stood out to me, just because I thought it was cute, and I also thought it would work well for this size panel. By the way, I'm burning on a 5x5 inch birch painting panel. For the actual burning part of this one, I started with the eyes and the head, but on a burning this small, that was more just a random choice because I had to start somewhere and that's where I usually start. So from there, I just laid down all the mid to light tones without touching my temperature dial too much. And after I'd kind of gone over the whole thing once, I turned up the heat a little bit and went back over the whole thing to darken some of the shadows and to add contrast. I did consider, as I always do, adding a black background to make the birds stand out a little bit more, but I decided not to because I knew that I was going to color most of it, so I wanted to leave the natural wood color in the background. I've done some burnings of birds before, and I like when at least some of the feathers are individually defined because I think that it adds interest, but not all of them. So the blue feathers are more defined, and the white ones on his belly are mostly just shaded and sort of hinted at. When I was doing that, I tried to make sure that the outlines of the feathers were not solid lines. The edges need to be feathered so that it doesn't end up looking like scales or something. I found actually for this the most difficult part was the feet, because they're so little on this bird and they're quite detailed, and I'm honestly not totally happy with how they turned out. But it's such a small part of it, and bird feet are always kind of weird looking anyway, that I just kind of had to move on. The last thing I did was the metal pole that he's sitting on. In the photo, it looks like the crossbar for a chain link fence or something, and kingfishers are pretty small birds, so it's pretty thick in comparison to the bird. But I made the decision to make it thinner so that it would fit on the 5x5 piece of wood without being cut off. At the time, I thought this was the right choice for the composition, but now I'm not so sure, because I think kind of how thick the bar was initially added to a sense of scale and made the bird look tinier in comparison. So it's funny how sometimes choices you make can have unintended consequences, but now to me it feels like in the burning, the bird actually looks bigger than it is in real life. So, I did all of the shading with the burning before adding the color, and before I move on, here's a picture of the finished burning just so that you can let me know if you like it better with or without the color when I'm all done. Now on to the next step. I'm a member of a really great pyrography group on Facebook. They're a really fantastic community, and I've noticed that a lot of members have mentioned using Prismacolor pencil crayons specifically to add color to their burnings, so I thought that I'd try it out. In the past, I've mostly used watercolors, although if you watch the feather video, you know that I did use some pencil crayons that I've just kind of had lying around since I was in high school. But it just so happened that I got a set of Prismacolor pencils recently as a birthday present from my friend Emily, so it sort of just worked out perfectly. The bird in the original photo that I'm using was a dark gray color, kind of dark gray blue with a white belly, but kingfishers are commonly bright blue, so I decided to go with that color for this one instead, since the whole point of burning this was to color it, and I really didn't want to make it gray. I mean, I guess I could have just picked a more colorful bird, but this is my artwork, so where's the fun if you can't sometimes stray from reality? Usually, I don't color my work at all, especially my realistic burnings, because I spend so much time on the burning, and I don't want the color to take away from that. And a lot of times when I see wood burnings with color, it makes me just kind of wonder why they went to the trouble of burning and didn't just do a painting or a pencil crayon drawing. Not that it's not beautiful, and I see the appeal sometimes, but I am still a bit of a color skeptic. People did seem to enjoy my last experiment in adding color to the burning of the feathers though, so I thought that I'd try adding color to something a little more complex with this little bird. And now that I've tried out quite a few methods of coloring, maybe next time I'll do something a bit bigger and add color to that. All in all for this one though, I only had a 12 set of pencils, so I added a bright blue and a dark blue to the feathers on his head and chest and back, and I used a white pencil crayon to highlight the feathers on his throat and belly and also add a little shine to his eye. And just like I knew would happen, I couldn't resist fixing one little mistake I made while I was burning, so I also used a little bit of a black pencil to smooth out and darken the shading in the eye. So almost all of the shading is coming from the burning underneath, except in the eye and a little bit of the tones in the lighter and the darker blue on the feathers. The Prismacolor pencils that I have are a soft lead, so the one thing that did happen was some of the color getting caught in the grooves that were created by the burning. So you may notice me using one of my burning pens to go in and scrape the color away, but it's unplugged, so it's not hot, because I wouldn't want to burn the color. That's part of why it's important to do all of the burning before coloring, because you want to be burning on an unfinished wood and not breathing in whatever is released when you burn pencil crayons or paints. So here's a picture of the finished Kingfisher with the color, and a side-by-side shot of the two versions together so that you can decide which one you like better. I think I like the color, but I'm honestly still not 100% sold. So please let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want to see more of my work, you can check out my Facebook page or follow me on Instagram. Also, please make sure to like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss all my future art videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.